So that has to be one of the most clever ways to kill someone via magic in terms of a whole magical dilemma. Of course you know Tinasha wasn't gonna die. I mean, we kind of, well, then again, they did introduce another witch beauty, so I guess there was another option per se, but so clever. I can't remember the last time, if ever, in an anime anyway, I've seen a sex-eating demon suck away your life force night after night. So our boy kind of gets cursed after meeting a new witch, who, you have to love the salt. Only Tinasha was able to smell the scent. That was genius. But, night after night, his life force was getting drained. And, basically, from what we understand, imagine a wet dream, but that wet dream slowly is, you know, sexy fun times via nightmares, which were actually pleasant in the moment, but technically a nightmare if it's killing you. You wake up with no memory, and your life force slowly but surely, and over the course of the week, you would die. So Tinasha says, you know what, I got this, and she makes him kill her in the dream. So basically strangled to death, and obviously very upset for understandable reasons, but all the life force goes back to him. Very powerful moment, creative as hell in terms of like, okay, that's interesting, like, because I knew something was happening. I thought he was getting brainwashed. I wasn't assuming that, like, I thought it was a love spell. And it just went in such a creative direction while also building their dynamic as they both apologize and embrace each other, and we get one step closer to them properly embracing each other in a romantic way, which you assume is going to happen, while also showing us another witch all at the same time. For me anyway, this show is getting better week after week. I know some people have issues with pacing and stuff, but I don't have that as an anime original. Of course, I have full live reactions over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thoughts to this or any of these unnamed memory episodes, it's going to be over there if you're interested. So let's get the house cleaning out of the way. Let's discuss the elephant in the room. So apparently a lot of stuff is getting cut, side stuff's getting cut, characters getting cut, I don't know. And a lot of this quote-unquote rush pacing. Sure, that might technically be true if you've read the source material, but I'm an anime only, and even if I read source materials, as long as I can look at the anime not needing extra things to make sense, I can view the anime as complete, even if I'm not really fond of the changes per se. And for me, I don't feel like this is rushed. Like, last week didn't feel rushed, this didn't feel rushed, it just feels like things are moving naturally for me, and I quite like what's happening. I like the introduction of the new witch, which honestly, I'm actually pretty happy about, because while I could deal with just having Tinasha and maybe whoever cursed him and his father as, like, the magical side of this world, I mean, yeah, there's mages, but, like, in terms of witches I'm talking about, I could deal with that, but it's actually nice because, you know, name a group of people that you could have characters casually try to poison and kill your fake husband-to-be / person I'm trying to protect, but I swear to God I'm not in love even though I have this hint of jealousy, and you could go casually catch up with a glass of wine or a cup of tea and you guys are perfectly fine. That's a witch thing, and it was just such a fun ending of an episode because, really, it kind of felt like, in a weird way, she was trying to be a wing woman, because our boy Oscar admits that he's trying to, well, marry. Well, actually, it's not really him, it's more of his little servant pal who kind of exposes a lot of things. Basically, it seems like from her point of view, it was kind of like, hey, if you're not gonna have him, I'm gonna take him, but I am gonna try to push you out of your comfort zone. So I'm gonna slowly suck his life force out. He's gonna have sexy, naughty dreams that will kill him slowly but surely. It's a scent only you're gonna be able to notice, so you'll assume that he's with someone, which initially she just assumes it's someone he's sleeping with, or he's having rough nights and not sleeping that well. And then it becomes, wait a gosh darn moment, realizes what's happening, and then she goes confronts her. It felt like a weird versions of Cupid's arrow, and then the fact that they have this conversation like, hey, you know, you're not gonna have him, can I have him? She's like, yeah, whatever. Actually, wait a second. Even though she mentions how it's more about because, well, then you're mixing with this other witch and everything going on there, there is a hint of jealousy. There was, you know, she's not in love with Oscar by any stretch, but she is starting to feel more and more, as seen by that embrace at the end. Sitting on his lap, him apologizing, her hugging, it's just, you feel the plot and the development brewing. And honestly, I like that it's not just them interacting. There's actually a living side cast. There's a lot of characters we talk with, casually going for a stroll in the woods, and you know, of course, this guy thinks that a pearl was just casually growing there and, you know, everything comes to life. I appreciate that we didn't go the generic, hey, we're just gonna fight a bunch of goblins. No, we had basically a bunch of plants try to attack us. They were shooting poison. It honestly looked kind of like acid rain. And, you know, if he gets hit by any sort of damage, then Tinasha would know because ultimately she has that protective spell on him. It was just nice because, like, just the way the characters talk with one another, it's so fun, it's so different, and I actually like that the magical side of this world is relevant not in the way that characters are casting elemental attacks, but you could look at Tinasha as an example. She actually floats and flies most places. The number of times I've seen magic anime with quote-unquote witches as characters, yeah, sometimes they fly on brooms and sometimes they do magic, but in general, you're not gonna think they're a witch just because they walk and move around the world the same as anyone else. And that's fine for certain shows. But she's floating around like she's Danny Phantom half the time. She's disintegrating, flying through things. Like when she initially like calls him out like, hey, like you smell like this person, or you smell like a woman's perfume, she's always floating. It adds an element of whimsical that does make the world feel more magical than just a generic or typical medieval-like fantasy setting. The fact that you can introduce her to your father, who I was kind of expecting the dad to be older at this point, but, you know, I like his character design. Just arguing in front of dear old pops, and it feels like they're an old married couple. It's fantastic. Like, the dynamic and the interactions between these characters actually feel genuine, and for me, it doesn't feel rushed. I mean, even if it technically is because they've cut this, they're trying to get to light novel 3 or whatever, right? Whatever the criticisms are. Even if that's all true, as an anime only, I can only speak on my own behalf, and I think for many anime onlys, it's not going to feel as rushed as maybe people are saying. I could be wrong. Maybe there's a lot of anime onlys who will disagree with that. All I know is I'm having a great-ass time. I like the production. They had a very talented animator work on last week's episode, which explains just why it popped off, but this episode looked great too. Even just the general look of the world, the character movements, and the fact that, you know, we did have a little bit of action that was fun. I think this show is actually a sleeper hit, man. It's actually impressive. It's impressing me. I'm very much enjoying it. And Unnamed Memory, you know, I said it with episode 1, I was like, god damn it, I was really hoping this one wouldn't turn out good so I'd have less to watch, and this is actually one that I'm really eager to see where episode 4 is going to take us, and how the dynamic's going to blossom, and if they'll introduce any of the other witches, or if it will just try to remain with the witch cast a little more small so we can get to know them. But I mean, the new witch has quite the plot, so you definitely know I'm going to enjoy her. But no, seriously, I liked her personality. Her outfit actually kind of reminded me of The Witcher, like it would be like someone from the Witcher video games that would be wearing something like that. I don't know, I like the look, I like the vibe, I like the personalities, and I'm messing with this one. Of course, those are my feelings. I'd love to know what everyone thought, whether you completely agree with me, disagree with me, whatever. Let's talk about Unnamed Memory episode 3 and what you hope to see with episode 4 next week. Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we have those full live reactions over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we have Attack Owl, Lesik Sykes, Bird Nest, Gomison, Matter Paradoxa, and we also have Count Viscount. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.